Hi, how are you, my friends? Um, to be honest, Mrs. Vitica, you know how we are in morning meeting and I'll say, how are you doing today? Are you feeling super fantastic? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling kind of And we go around the circle and we talk about that. If we did a circle like that today, Mrs. Vitica would be saying, I'm feeling We had lots and lots of technology issues today. Um, it's just been not a good day technologically wise. I know many of you tried to get on and look at teaching videos and they weren't there, they were deleted, and it's a long story, but everything's back up and running and I'm feeling a little bit better, but it's been a rough day. That would be why it is 9:20 and I am just getting to our Despereaux read aloud. So here we go. I couldn't let today go without doing this. Desperate. What's really a bummer is I had originally read this to you on my front porch because I often told you how much I loved my front porch and I wanted you to see it, but that's okay. We'll do it another day. All right, so today is chapter 48 on the tail of a rat. So if you remember, on Friday we left off that Despereaux was grabbing Roscoe's tail, and Roscoe promised to take Despereaux to the princess. So here we go. Have you ever had to hold the tail of a rat? At best, it is an unpleasant sensation, scaly and cold, similar to holding on to a small, narrow snake. Ooh. At worst, when you are dependent upon a rat for your survival, and when part of you is certain that you are being led nowhere except to your death, it is a hideous sensation indeed to have nothing but a rat's tail to cling to. Nonetheless, Despereaux held on to Botticelli Mormorso, and the rat led him deeper and deeper into the dungeon. Despereaux's eyes had by this point adjusted quite well to the darkness. Through it, though it would have been better if maybe they had not. For the things he saw made him shiver and shake. Can you think about what he might have seen? He's in that dungeon where they sent mice that didn't follow the mice rules and people that went against the law. What kinds of things might they have seen? What did he see, you might ask, reader? He saw that the floor of the dungeon was littered with tufts of fur, knots of red thread, and the skeletons of mice. Everywhere there were tiny white bones glowing in the darkness, and he saw in the dungeon tunnels through which Botticelli led him. The bones of human beings, too, grinning skulls and delicate finger bones, rising up out of the darkness and pointing towards some truth best left unspoken. Despereaux closed his eyes, but it didn't help. He saw as if his eyes were still open, wide, sorry. He saw as if his eyes were still open wide, the bones, the tufts of hair, the knots of thread, the despair. Ha, ha, exactly, Botticelli laughed as he negotiated the twists and turns. Oh, yes, exactly. Botticelli's enjoying this a little too much, don't you think? If what was in front of Despereaux was too horrible to contemplate, what followed behind him was perhaps even worse. Rats. A happy, hungry, vengeful parade of rats, their noses up in the air, sniffing, sniffing, sniffing. Can you see that? There's Despereaux, tiny little Despereaux, holding on to Roscoe's nasty, nasty tail. Mouse, sang out one rat joyfully. Yes, oh yes, mouse, agreed another. But something else too. Soup, said a third. Yes, soup, the others agreed. Blood, sang a rat. Blood, they all agreed together, and then they sang, Here, mousy, 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 mouse. Here, little mousy. Botticelli called out to the other rats. Mine, he said. This little treasure is all mine, gentlemen and ladies. Please, I beg you, do not infringe on my discovery. Mr. Ramerso, said Despereaux. He turned and looked behind him, and the rats in their red eyes and their smiling mouths. He closed his eyes again. He kept them closed. Mr. Remorso, he shouted. Yes, said Botticelli. Mr. Remorso, said Despereaux, and he was crying now. He couldn't help it. Have you ever been so upset you don't want to cry, but you just can't help it? That's how Despereaux's feeling right now. Please? The princess. Remember, you promised. Tears, shouted the rats. We smell tears, Mousie, we do. Please, shouted Despereaux. Little friend, said Botticelli. Little Despereaux Tilling. I promised you, and I will keep that promise. The rat stopped. Look ahead of you, he said. And what do you see? Despereaux opened his eyes. Light, he said. Exactly, said Botticelli. Light. So did he literally see light? Do you remember what he thought of whenever he saw the princess? All right, well, today is done. Some days are not good days, but tomorrow is always a new day to try something new. So I'm sure it'll be better for me anyway. Have a great evening or a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Bye, friends.